Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantāṃ Vande Guru-paraṁparāṃ Shruti-smriti-purāణānaṁ Ālayam Karuణālayam Namāmi Bhagavat-pādam Shankaram Loka-shankaram Shankaram Shankarācāryam Keshavam Bādarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we will begin the fourth part of this course, that is about the meditation. That is lesson number 20. I hope you have been taking the test for the earlier lessons. That is, after every 2 lessons there is a test, no? That one has to take. Now this lesson 20, we begin with this understanding of the equipment that we have and the glory of this human life. So if you have the course material, take page number 2 in that material. What is the glory of human life? Is the buddhi, the intellect. The plants, as we see, the plants, they have minimum development of sense organs. They lack conscious feelings and emotions, and intellect is not developed at all. But rudimentary element of mind is there in plants. Animals are more developed than the plants. So animals, the senses are partially developed, minimum feelings and emotions, and gross intellect is partially developed. Meaning they are able to discriminate between what to eat, what not to eat, where to go, where not to go, who is a friend, who is enemy. That's a gross discrimination. But that also they are able to do by instinct, not by intelligence. Now, human beings, the senses are well developed, feelings are well developed, and intellect also has both gross and subtle discrimination. Subtle discrimination means permanent and impermanent, self and not self, right and wrong. Those are subtle discriminations which human intellect is capable of. Now, what is the point of understanding this? That using this human intellect, I can live a human life and then I can grow to realize that infinite self. Meditation is the step that will help us to do that. But what happens is generally the choice that we have, either I can evolve or I can devolve. Because that choice is only with us, human beings. Many people don't recognize that choice. One. Even if they recognize that choice, the intellect is not strong enough to follow the path of the right, the path of dharma. And hence, one doesn't, and then third is ignorance. One doesn't know the goal that one is seeking, that also one rejects. We say from man a person can become divine. From man a person can become God man. But that God only one will deny. Okay, which God, what God? Or a state of permanent happiness, that one will deny. So the buddhi, which can be used to realize the self, is not only not used to realize the self, it can go in the opposite direction. That because there is nothing higher in life, one will go on feeling enjoyment is the best part of life. Life is meant to eat, drink, make merry. What else is there in life? So then the path of devolution happens. So this lesson 20 is to lay the stronger foundation for meditation. Because meditation is not just sitting quietly and making the mind blank. A lot of people think that meditation means no thoughts. For that, we don't have to struggle. For that, one physical shot is good enough. Mind will become thoughtless immediately. That one doesn't have to struggle at all. Blank or thoughtlessness or some special light, some vision, some color, not required. What exactly is meditation is to transcend the attachment to body, mind, intellect and to realize the self. Now, why am I not able to transcend the attachment to body, mind, intellect? Because I'm not using my buddhi. Subtle discrimination I'm not using. Why am I not able to use subtle discrimination? Because the mind is attached to the body, to the senses, to the pleasures. So though I'm in human form, I'm not living as a human being. I'm living more at the lower levels. Till I don't transcend those levels and come to use my discrimination, the next step, meditation won't happen. So Gurudev gives here the example of a drain pipe. So he says that this drainage pipe is a pipe to throw away the sewage and the waste material, etc., out of the house. But when there is monsoon and the area gets flooded, then that same pipe, instead of becoming a source of outlet, also becomes a source of inlet. The outside dirty water will seep in through that drain pipe. If you want to experience that, come here during monsoon. You will get the feel of living in an island, because full around everywhere there will be only water. And in this street, this is the rarest house, because it is in the, what you call, the normal level of the ground, it is below that. Every other house is above that. So all water happily comes and it floods. And this year we had one or two instances where it would have just come inside. Luckily it stopped just at the door level. It didn't come inside. So the same thing which becomes a drain pipe, which is supposed to be outlet, that will become inlet. Which means what? The mind and intellect, which is supposed to be an outlet to exhaust the vasanas, that every minute of my life, see the drain pipe example, it happens only in monsoon. Or if some rare situation happens. But this is happening every minute in our life. The vasana is supposed to get exhausted. Mind and intellect is supposed to become quieter. But instead of that exhausting, we are adding more and more and more. So instead of the mind and intellect becoming quiet, is getting more and more restless. Even through the age we find, what one should be actually going through. As one grows, life brings so many experiences. One should mellow down. Because one has seen enough, so many things in life now, experienced, matured, ego becomes what you call minimum, sense cravings reduce, mind learns to have more vairagya towards sense objects, all that. But that will happen if I have lived life with this vision. Otherwise, the vision is what? The goal of life is enjoyment. Bas. Dharma, dharma and moksha is not there. Artha and kama is the goal of life. So then that pipe, instead of becoming a source of outlet, it will become a source of inlet. Continuously, I will add more and more and more vasanas. And hence, Gurudev says here that we have to be very careful. that we have these vasanas with us, and unless these vasanas are not exhausted, meditation is not possible. Even if I want to make the mind quiet, how will I make the mind quiet? By force, by willpower, for some time maybe. Common problem of everybody in meditation is what? Most common problem. Stressful life is in general. I'm saying when you sit to meditate, what is the problem that one faces in meditation? Thoughts and wandering. By itself, are thoughts the problem? Think about it. If thoughts come and go, there's no problem. Because the nature of mind is to think. So it will think. Thoughts coming and going is not actually a problem. Our identification with those thoughts is the problem. And that identification keeps happening. So every time a thought comes, I jump on that thought. I identify with that thought. I own that thought. Thought of anger comes. I will say, I am angry. Thought of pleasure comes. I say, I am enjoying. That I gets associated with that thought. Suppose I don't associate. Mind wants to think about some memory and invoke anger. Why did this person say like this? I don't identify. I just watch. The next thought only will not come for that anger. But we feed that. That is called identification. Now, why is this identification happening? By force, by willpower, I may control, saying, no, don't think, don't think, don't think. How long it will last? Or I may divert the mind to something else. How long that will last? A vasana which is there, it will manifest. So unless that vasana cleansing doesn't happen, meditation won't work. So though meditation is a very important step, from man to God-man, the last step actually is meditation. But generally, the preparation is ignored by people. What is the preparation? That I have to exhaust my vasanas, make the mind quieter. Then sit with a steady mind and intellect to contemplate on the truth, realize the self. That's the process. But the preparation one ignores. One wants to sit and meditate. Vasana pressure, understanding of what is a vasana, how to eliminate the vasanas, reduce the vasana pressure, that one doesn't do. So in this chapter, Gurudev speaks about those aspects. Because the goal otherwise is not clear. One thinks only I want to become blank. I don't have to become blank. That will happen naturally because of vasana pressure not being there. What today we are trying is retaining the vasana pressure with lot of willpower, try to eliminate the thoughts. For some time may be possible also, but Ramana Maharshi gives the example of birds which are trapped by a net which is cast on them. So if a net is put on the birds, what happens? The flying of the birds will stop. If we remove the net, what happens? Again they'll fly. Same way, with willpower, with breath control, with pranayam, with some other methods, one can control the mind, reduce the thought flow. The moment that is taken away, what will happen to that mind? Again it will fly. Again it will go back. This we can apply in not only in meditation, in other aspects of life also. Because the value for it is there. So suppose we say that I love chocolate and I am addicted to chocolate. By the way, do you know yesterday was chocolate day? Yesterday was World Chocolate Day. Huh? You didn't eat? I also didn't eat. Anyway, so that those who are addicted to chocolate, now they will say 1 year I will not eat chocolate. Willpower. Some They want to lose weight or they want to reduce sugar consumption, whatever it is. So they won't eat chocolate for 1 year. But in that 1 year, what one is doing? One is counting days. 6 more months, 3 more months, 2 more months. Not only counting days, one is imagining also. After 1 year, how will I break my fast of chocolate? Some exotic chocolate from somewhere I will get, and with that I will take first bite. Ahaha. One imagines. So what happened for 1 year? I kept that using my willpower. I kept away from it. After 1 year, I will again go back into it, or I will go back into it with much more force, because I deprived myself for so much time. I did not eliminate the vasana for chocolate. The interest that I have for chocolate, the craving that I have, that did not go. Same thing happens for meditation also. For some time we are able to withdraw the mind from everything outside. Hold on to the breath, hold on to a mantra, hold on to any support. But if the vasana pressure is not cleared up, the interest in sense objects, in worldly things, in gossip, in power, position, prestige, that continues. So what happens? Initially when one starts meditating, there will be some quietude also. But after some time, that also goes away. Why? Because the vasana pressure again takes over. This was a new thing one was trying. For some time mind was excited. Then that becomes boring. Then the mind again starts wandering. Then that little piece also goes away. Then one wonders what went wrong. What went wrong is the whole process. That I didn't cleanse the mind of the vasana. Hence Gurudev's in this chapter, he says that if the preparation is done, then meditation is the best method to realize the self. But if the preparation is not done, then there's nothing more to struggle in life than meditation. So now he clarifies what is that state of meditation. Meditation is actually not a practice. If we ask what is the word meditation, is it a noun or a verb? What will you say? Verb? To meditate. But meditation as a word is what? It's a state. So a state means what? Is a noun or a verb? State means a noun. What is that state of meditation? That state of meditation is the state of knowing myself as I am. To know the self, to be in that state of the self, that I am pure consciousness, I am not this. That state of awareness where I am fully aware of my true nature effortlessly. That state is meditation. Today, the identification of this small I is with the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. Do you remember? In the second portion of this FVC, we have done that. Consciousness identified with the waking state is called what? Vishwa. Identified with the dream state is Tejas. Identified with the deep sleep state, Prajna. So it is this I, this big I, identified with each state, assumes identity of the small I, Vishwa, Tejas and Prajna. And today I don't know what is the big I. So to constantly identified with this Vishwa, Tejas, Prajna is a state of the ego. Meditation is to drop these identifications. When I identify with these three, then I am the limited jiva only. Now what I am trying to do is retain the limited jiva bhav Now I want peace of mind by holding on to some support. You see the difference in meditation, the attitude of meditation only will change. Retaining Jiva Bhav, trying to get little bit of peace of mind is not the objective of meditation. Dropping the Jiva Bhav to realize my divine nature, which is absolute peace, that is a process. So it is not acquiring anything, it is dropping. Drop the false identification, that is the state. And that's why if you see the state of perfection, that on page 4, the second paragraph, not second, third paragraph, the state of perfection, that first paragraph in that. So there he says the divine self within is our real nature. The matter layers are like a garment, merely an outer covering worn by the self. One who lives in total identification with the pure self, one is in a state of absolute perfection and bliss. That state is actually meditation. Total identification with the real self. That is the state of meditation. But when one identifies with the material vestures, one is transformed into a limited personality who therefore suffers the thraldom of the changing world. That is where it is. Meditation is to shift me away from this false identification with the matter to realize the self. So it's not that Jiva, small little I, has to get little more peace, little more concentration. That's not the objective of meditation. That some people may want and try for different reasons, that is different. Here for realization, objective is very different. It is to transcend the attachment to the BMI. Now how that will happen? So the attachment to the three, Vishwa, Tejas, Prajna, is also because I am attached to the three bodies. When I am attached to the vasanas, the causal body. So ignorance and vasanas, they make up the causal body. As long as I am identified with the ignorance and causal body, that I am ignorant, I don't know the self, and then I have vasanas for different things, people, situations. So long I will live as a limited jiva. So the state of meditation is the state of vasana-lessness, where I have removed the vasanas. Elimination of these vasanas. In Vivek Chudamani, one definition of moksha itself is that. Vasana prakshayo moksha. The destruction of the vasanas is moksha. Because the vasana is what is making me extrovert. What will vasana manifest as? Vasana is unmanifest, causal body. It will manifest first as what? Desire in the intellect. So this vasana which will manifest as desire in the intellect, if the vasana pressure is high, what will happen to the desire? No, that will happen to thought and action next, that is agreed. What will happen to desire? If higher pressure of vasana is there, it manifests as desire, will it be the more desire or what? What will happen? More vasanas, more desire. Which means more extrovertedness. Which means much more thoughts, much more actions. Put it off if you want. Right now there's AC pressure, not vasana pressure. So this more vasana pressure means more desire means more thoughts meaning more restlessness at the body level. How will I sit and meditate? It's not possible. And nobody wants to understand this vasana pressure, how to eliminate vasana pressure. Swami, technique, just tell me some technique where my mind will become quiet. Okay, do the japa. Technique given. Oh, I am doing japa, but my mind wanders. Then what to tell? Unless the vasana pressure is reduced, for that I have to understand properly what is vasana, what is this pressure. So the state of meditation is the state of the self. In that pure consciousness, there is no vasana. Vasana is identified at the causal body level. Thoughts and emotions identified at the subtle body level, and actions are identified at the body level, gross body. When I transcend body, mind, intellect, gross body, subtle body, causal body, then that state is described as what? The state of vasanalessness, state of desirelessness, state of actionlessness. No, but how will that state be? It will be boring. No desire, no action, no thoughts, no dull, boring. Kya ho gaya? No desire, no thoughts, no actions. Will it be boring or will it not be boring? How do you know? See, today we feel we don't know, but that's the fact that we know. In daily life also we see or not. As long as the desire agitations are there, are we really happy? No. When a desire is fulfilled, what has happened actually? The desire has become quiet, agitation in the mind and thoughts in the mind have become quiet for that time. There is a lot of happiness in that state. So our notion that happiness is outside is a wrong notion that we saw in earlier chapters also. Happiness is actually not coming from outside, it is coming from quietude of the mind. And how that mind becomes quiet? When vasana pressure is reduced. So now the preparation required for sitting steadily in meditation is what? I should eliminate the vasanas. How to eliminate the vasanas? That we saw earlier in terms of the three things, the three yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So this Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga are to exhaust the vasanas. In Karma Yoga, when I act selflessly, dedicating myself to a higher ideal, then what happens? Existing vasana will get exhausted. Because I'm doing it for selfless purpose, no new vasana gets created. So the vasana pressure will reduce, which Gurudev also called as the quality of thoughts will change. Karma Yoga will help us to improve the quality of thoughts. Bhakti Yoga will reduce the quantity of thoughts. How will Bhakti Yoga eliminate vasanas? Because I am dedicating actions to Bhagavan, not doing it for I. So Bhakti Yoga also will help. And the more devotion I have for Bhagavan, the lesser I think about the world, the more I think of the Lord. So Bhakti Yoga also will eliminate. And Jnana Yoga, how it will help? By discriminating between the real and the unreal and dropping my attachment to the unreal. If I know that there is a mirage there, I won't run behind it. The more I reflect and understand that the worldly pleasure is illusory, more will be the detachment from that, the hankering, craving, running behind it, that will all reduce. So the direction of thought becomes more introvert. So what we had learned earlier, quality, quantity and direction. Those three are the preparations. If quality has not become positive, quantity has not reduced, if the direction control we don't have, that external and internal, I should be able to control. In work, my mind must engage properly. In meditation, I should be able to withdraw fully. Today what happens? Ulta. When I'm meditating, mind is thinking about work. When I'm working, the mind is saying, this is all boring. I should leave all this and sit somewhere quietly and experience meditation. When I go to sit quietly and experience meditation, then mind is wandering. Pitiable condition. No? And why both these are happening? Because I have not handled Vasana pressure at all. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Any one yoga or a combination of these three I have to use and reduce the Vasana pressure. Now, how will I know my Vasana pressure is reduced or not? When there is no hankering after pleasure, no, that means Vasana pressure is reduced. When there is no restlessness to work, I can sit quietly for some time and the mind does not tell me that go here, do this, do that, why are you wasting your time? Typically, that's what will happen. If I sit for meditation, what will the mind say? Waste of time. Simply you are wasting time. Do something productive. There is so much to do. Why are you sitting here wasting your time? What will this lead to? So the mind becomes restless because the Vasana pressure is a lot. So craving for sense pleasure is reduced. Restlessness to work has reduced. Please remember that is not tamas. Huh? Many people think that no, I don't want to work. What will I do? Sleep. No. One has reduced the Vasana pressure, so the craving for going out, doing something, achieving extrovertedness has reduced. And where is the mind getting diverted to? Not to sleep or to laziness or to watching TV. No, no. Spending more time in study, reflection, solitude, contemplation, devotion. If those have increased, that means my Vasana pressure has reduced. And I don't sit and imagine fancifully some sense pleasure, some I will go here, 30th, 31st December. Where will I celebrate 31st December? People start asking from now only. Swamiji, you are not doing any camp? I said, no, this year I am not doing any camp. Why you are not doing any camp? Take us, no. I said, I want to sit quietly. You want to be restless for that, why should I go and take a camp? You go, there are 20 other people who are taking camp, go. No, no, your camp is very good. Please take us, no. At least 2 days you take. Nothing doing. 7 days I'm going to sit here quietly. Bas. Oh, that is so disappointing. Okay. But mind starts imagining, where will I go? I will go to Bhutan. I will go to, I don't know where, a lot of places people go to. Year end. I am going to this New Year bash. So many hotels, they will throw a New Year bash. I have booked for that. So one starts imagining. We will all go, we will enjoy, our friends will go and we will invoke the new year. And first time, I'm going to such a thing. Nothing wrong in wanting to enjoy, but the mind which has Vasana pressure, in meditation also the mind will imagine all this. So if these three have reduced, that means I have practiced my preparation well. If I am practicing the Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, but these three are not reducing, what are these three? No craving for sense pleasure, no restlessness to work, and no fanciful imagination. Where is this said? This is said in the Gita, 6th chapter. That mind will become ready. So now Gurudev gives this example here, that such a mind which has reduced the Vasana pressure with these three preparations, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, that mind, what should it do? It should then take up japa. You see on page 6 he says that. Second paragraph on page 6. By such disciplines practiced at the three levels of the personality, the thought flow gets reduced, the quality of thought improves, and the direction of thoughts is turned towards the higher. A mind thus prepared is further trained and controlled by the help of continuous mental chanting of the Lord's name called japa and deeper meditation upon his nature. You see, this is the preparation. You go to any meditation course, will they tell you this preparation is required? Vasana pressure you should reduce, quality, quantity, direction you should control, then start doing japa. Lot of people want to do meditation also for what? Stress relief, BP must reduce, cholesterol must reduce. And one person though asked one Swamiji, Swamiji, please bless me that I can meditate like Vishwamitra. He said, why? So that Menaka will come. Now imagine what is the objective of meditation there. Menaka has to come. So for many things people do meditation. Very few people do meditation to realize Brahman. If I want Brahman, this is the method. Some people do meditation to boost their concentration. Somebody teach meditation to my child so that he can get good marks in exams. For that, you first reduce his consumption of sugar. That I cannot reduce. He is hyper full time, but he has to meditate. How it will work? You know, one very nice simple technique it is. In Sanskrit language, there is the sound visarga, na? Aha. So we add aha to many words. Ramaha, Devaha. So that visarga sound is a powerful sound. As you keep saying visarga sound, the breath is thrown out. If somebody is very hyper, no, they have to start using visarga sound. Their hyperactivity will reduce. Just by that sound, keep uttering the sound. Ah, ah, ah. Kapalbhati also happens in that. And some of the mantras when we chant, they have that visarga at the end. Mantras, shlokas, many of them. So when those are repeated, hyperactivity reduces. So by itself, Sanskrit language also has so much of power. We don't know many things, the significance of some of these things, but they are very helpful. So the point is that many people meditate for different reasons. BP, cholesterol, or concentration, efficiency, success, or meditate on wealth. I am wealthy, I am prosperous, I have a car, I am traveling in a 50 lakh Audi car, and you will attract it to yourself. No, I am not condemning any of these. There are different levels, people meditate for all that. But those who want Brahman, they have to follow this path. That do the karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, reduce the vasana pressure, then start doing japa. Initially, I may take the name of the Lord, but 5 minutes, 10 minutes, not long time. If you see the instruction before this, lesson 20, there is one introductory page for the section 4. In that, they say that till now, if you read the earlier introductory pages of earlier section, you were supposed to get up early. You know that? Not later than 6:30 and not before 4:30. Oh, that we didn't know only. Any of you followed? Getting up not later than 6:30 and not earlier than 4:30. Swamiji, our sleep only started at 4:30. So till now, one was supposed to get up by 4:30, between 4:30 and 6:30, and spend 5 minutes in quietude. See, AC pressure when it goes, how much peace? Like that Vasana pressure goes, what peace will be there in the mind? Think. What a difference it makes, no? Suddenly, meditation will go on to another level. Suddenly, Vasana pressure gone. Kya ho gaya? Samadhi lag gayi. So the point was that we earlier the course was telling us to, in the course instruction was, get up between this time, get ready and sit 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now it is said increase it to 15 minutes after 6 months. increase it to 15 minutes, remember the name of the Lord. Now in the next lesson, all Gurudev will give the technique of how to do japa, how to hold a mala, all that also will come. So it is a gradual process. It cannot happen suddenly. If I've understood properly, I've started applying, I've started becoming more selfless in my life, then my attachment to the ego, to the body, mind, intellect, all will start reducing. Vasana pressure will start reducing. Cravings will reduce. With such a mind, I have to do japa. And when that mind has become single pointed in japa, then I have to meditate on Brahman, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. Nowadays, so people start straight away with that Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. Vasana pressure is intact, full. Jiva bhav is absolutely strong. But who am I? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. Wonderful music. And when one listens to it, one feels, aha. Not Brahman, music is very good. And relative quietude happened. That one feels so peaceful it was. See, all those are initial steps, one feels nice about it, at least some samskar of meditation has gone inside. But if I want real progress, then I have to do these things. Now what happens here? Once I understand this process, what is the main obstacle is my attachment to the BMI. So here one example has been given. It is like a prism. The light which is passing through the prism will split into so many different colors also. So it is one ray of white light, but when it passes through the prism, it becomes 7 colors. One Brahman is my nature. When passing through the prism of the mind and intellect, it becomes the whole world of plurality. But if you remove that prism, then again it is just one light. So this prism is the body-mind-intellect identification. And this body-mind-intellect identification, the purer the mind is, clearer the light passes through. The more impure the mind is, the light passing through will get distracted. And so Gurudev gives this example that this body-mind-intellect, one is it has to be aligned together. And once you align it, that attachment to BMI has to be removed. Like the prism has to be removed, the attachment to BMI has to be removed. Please remember, BMI does not have to be destroyed. Identification with the BMI has to be destroyed. And that identification is because I think I am the BMI and I want happiness through the BMI. So all those Bhaja Govindam, etc., what we learned is actually meant to reduce my Vasana pressure. When I see the Pratipaksha Bhavana, when I see the limitations of the worldly pleasure and the attachments that I have to people, to wealth, to sense pleasures, etc., the exaggerated value we have given to it has to be deflated. Then when I sit for meditation, what will happen? Mind won't run outside. Today does the mind run for toys, childhood toys? Bothering Swamiji, you know, I want that toy car. It won't bother because there is no interest in it. There is no vasana for it. There is no craving for it. No interest in it. But that real car I need. That vasana is there. So now that bothers. So a person who has stopped identifying because the value has been brought down. So Bhaja Govindam is a preparation. Vedantic knowledge is a preparation. Aligning of the body, mind, intellect through Satya, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya, that is a preparation. 4 yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, that is a preparation. So our culture gives lot of different methods of how to prepare for this final step. Once a person does that, then this identification with the body will stop. It will reduce. So now what are the steps in non-identification with the body? That portion comes is this dynamic mind. That is the portion there, yeah. Not dynamic mind, after that. Page number 8, you see the picture of that prism which is there. In that, the last paragraph it comes. Gurudev gives step by step. See, again, I have not found this type of a guidance anywhere else. I have read many books on meditation. One is preparation for meditation to align the body, mind, intellect. Now the second step is understanding that I am not the body, mind, intellect. So I have to drop my identification with the body, mind, intellect. How to drop body, mind, intellect identification? So holding on to the higher, the lower has to be dropped. Very simple. So what Gurudev says here, this can be achieved by rising from the level of the physical body to the supreme self by the gradual process of non-identification. Gradual process. Now what is that gradual process? As long as I am living at the body level, my craving will be for sense pleasures and everything will be directed towards getting maximum pleasure from the objects. Relationships, work, hard work, money, everything will be for enjoy maximum. So at body level. From that level, if I have to drop attachment to that level, I have to rise to the higher level, which is what? Emotions. When emotions, relationships become more important to me, then sense pleasures I will stop or I will be ready to sacrifice. So if somebody is very attached to, let us say, cigarette, if a person really loves somebody, if that person tells this person, don't smoke, I don't like smoking, can you please leave that for me? Now if this person loves that person so much, then what will they do? Quit smoking. Because holding on to higher emotions, one can let go of the lower, the pleasure. From emotion, how does one rise higher? One has to hold on to ideals, certain goals, values, ideals. Uncompromisingly, I hold on to that, which we learnt as which value? Amongst the three, Satyam. Satyam is uncompromising commitment to what I'm convinced by. So a person who holds on to the ideals, emotions may still arise. Like Arjun's case, he was having a lot of emotions for his grandfather, his teacher, his relatives. But the ideal is I have to protect dharma. So even when he's shooting arrows at Bhishma, his heart would have pain or it won't have pain. There will be pain because he's shooting arrows at Bhishma and Bhishma is getting wounded and he's going to fall. But emotions do not cloud his judgment. He will still go ahead and do it because he's letting go of the lower for the higher. So body level I rise when I hold on to emotions. Emotion level I rise when I hold on to ideals. If I don't have these two, higher emotions, higher relationships and emotions and higher ideals, to simply say I am not the body, mind, intellect, I am Brahman, does not work. Because I will be stuck by pleasure, emotional attachment or some intellectual desire. I will be stuck in the cravings of these three. But if I am able to steadily lift myself from pleasure to emotion, emotion to ideal, that person from ideal also goes beyond, because the final realization is I am the self which is beyond all these. So the last step in meditation is this, to jump from buddhi to atma, from intellect to self. Today what I am trying to do, you try to do that as an exercise if you want. But disclaimer, I am not responsible for consequences. Stand on the ground and 4 steps, if they are there, try and jump onto the 4th or 5th step straight. what will happen? As small children, one may have done it. Now, if one tries to do fourth step, fifth step, just straight away jump, one will fall. No, I am very athletic. Okay, jump to the 10th step then. One can't. From ground level, how will I jump straight to the 10th step? Today, from the body level, where am I trying to jump? Straight to the Atma. What about emotions? What about Buddhi? No, that time we don't have. Tell us shortcut. 7 days crash course in meditation. Fatafat. It won't happen. Slowly I have to lift. So that's what he says here. This process of non-identification is that where slowly one is expanding from body level to emotion to intellect and then to the self, and the self in me is the self in all. Then there is no boundary, there is no ego, there is no limitation. That is the final step. Some people will cling only to one or two people and become very possessive about them. And if those people tell them anything, this person will feel so bad. Oh, how can he tell me like this? Because attachment is very strong only to those two people. One has to expand. Emotionally, we say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. There are some people who will become possessive about one or two. Expand. More relationships I have, more wider is my base. Lesser is my dependence, lesser is my clinging, lesser is my holding on and attachment. Even in Arjun's case, if you see, of so many people who are there in his enemies, in the Kauravas, he's attached to how many people? What was the main cause of his downfall? Was he attached to Duryodhana? Was he attached to Karna? Was he attached to Shakuni? Only two people. Bhishma and Drona, that's it. Very attached to both these. So there will be in life some of these that we will be attached. Even in pleasure, if you see, there will be some that we will be very attached to, highly attached to. If I expand my base, then there's no problem. Food also. In our country, though, we have how many different varieties of food, different types of food, taste of food, style of food, all that. If we expand our base, we can go to any part of the country, we will be fine. But there are some people who will eat only certain type of food. They want only that. If that is not available, gone. Huh? Yeah, havoc for themselves and everybody. Curd rice has to be available. Anything else you give me or you don't give me, curd rice you have to give. Now one is stuck. If one person goes somewhere, curd is not available. Miserable that person is. Each person gets identified with some specific things. Filter coffee only. Why you can't take brew coffee? No, filter coffee. Nescafe and all is not real coffee. Filter coffee is real coffee. Now I'm stuck to filter coffee. So the lesser I identify with, more is my mind shrinking. If I identify with more, it doesn't matter. A sadhu or a sannyasi will not have attachment to any of these. That's why the mind can focus on Brahman. Because food, clothes, the other day somebody was telling me they are going through some cancer treatment. They finished going through the cancer treatment. The hair is not there. Now the hair is growing. Little hair has come. This much hair is there. One layer of hair is there. Thin. That person was saying, I am so liberated. I don't have to look in the mirror. I don't have to spend so much of time in combing my hair. Nothing. I feel so happy that earlier I used to spend so much time in combing hair, this, that. Now there's so much freedom. Now imagine if that freedom comes in different other aspects of my life. Now you just think that is one part. In that one is feeling so free. So many other attachments, if I'm able to drop, how much free the mind will be. So is my in my life, is my vision expanding or is it contracting? One should identify that. And the last portion here now he says is that such a mind which has been able to expand that vision, that mind is ready for meditation. If that mind, if we have not done this process, then what happens? He brings back the analogy, Gurudev brings back the analogy of the flow of thoughts. That consciousness is my nature, but I am not able to recognize because today the flow of thoughts is very high, like the cinema example. No, so many frames are being projected at a fast pace, some 25 frames per second. So though there is no movement there, there is appearance of movement because it is very fast. Same way, my nature is consciousness, but the mind is flowing at such a fast pace that I don't recognize consciousness. And on the contrary, that fast flow of mind is creating one entity, Mr. So-and-so. That entity appears very real to me. But if I slow down that pace of thoughts, what will happen? I will suddenly realize that entity only is a myth. So he gives the example here that if mind is a flow of thoughts, intellect is like the banks of the river. Banks of the river will determine where the river is guided. If the banks are broken and the river is in spate, what will happen? Whatever comes on the way will get, that the flooding will happen. Everything will get destroyed. Same way, the banks which don't have, what is the banks? The buddhi, the ideals are the banks. That if we don't have higher ideals in life, if we work only for I, me and mine, then this water, this mind is going to flood everything. It will destroy everything. So he says that one should ensure that one finds certain higher ideals in one's life, commit oneself to those higher ideals, purify the mind, reduce the vasana pressure, then sit for contemplation, then sit for japa and then for contemplation. So this chapter is that preparation which Gurudev has said. And please remember, this is the preparation required before I sit in seat of contemplation. What is the preparation in the seat of contemplation? That will come next now. This is the preparation required before. So for today, we will stop here. This completes lesson number 20. Lesson 21 is what we take up week after next. Next week there is no class. I'm not in Mumbai, but week after that we will continue. What I suggest is next week, if you have a japamala, you please bring japamala, because the next chapter has that japa. If you don't have, if you are able to buy one, please buy. Japa, generally there are 3 different types of malas. Broadly, there can be many other one can use. But any mantra connected to Lord Shiva, one uses a Rudraksha mala. Any mantra connected to Lord Vishnu, one uses Tulsi mala. And any mantra connected to Devi, one uses Spatik mala. There are 3 different types of malas. Broadly, there are other wooden mala, chandan mala, so many malas are there. Mala is a means to keep the mind, body aligned. After a point, we have to drop the mala also. So please bring a mala next to next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।